All right, welcome to Witchpolice Radio. Well, over the course of doing this show, I'm at, I think it's like episode 860 something right now. So I've interviewed a lot of different bands, and it's always interesting when I have a band on that is new to me because I try to stay, as up on the local music scene as I can. But every week I hear about like 18 new bands, and so when you guys reached out about doing this episode, it was yeah, you guys were completely new to me. So I've listened to some stuff now. I think I have an idea, or I think I do anyway, on what you're all about, what your sound is, but. I think the best way to start this off, because there's four of you on the call here, is if we can go kind of around the band and you can each introduce yourselves and what instrument you play in the band, so people can put a name to the voice, and then we can sort of go from there and talk about what it is that you do. So whoever wants to go
Sounds
first.
good. Okay, I'll go first. I'm Gary. I'm the drummer in the band. I sing backup vocals and squint my eyes a lot and just kind of give her. Yeah.
Right on.
Hey, well, I'm Dan, and I'm the singer in the band, and yeah, that's what I do.
I'm Matt, and I play bass and do a little bit of backups.
Cool.
I am Dave. I play guitar and or keys, and I'm still learning how to sing and play the guitar at the same time. Someday I will get that, but fingers crossed.
I'm
Yeah, so
trying to.
you have to separate your brain, right, to two different sides to be able to do that. Yeah, pull it off. It's hard for sure. So,
Mhm.
like I said, I'm new to your music. I mean, I've listened to what I was able to before we did this conversation, and this is the question everyone hates answering, and I hate asking it too because it's a shitty question. But how do you define the type of music you play? And the reason it's a shitty question is because people always there's so many like subgenres of subgenres of subgenres, and everything is something core and post this, and it seems it's very difficult to put a name on what anyone is doing. I mean, I listen to it, I hear alt rock. I hear, which is itself a very vague genre, but I hear kind of 90s sounds coming out of it. How do you define it? Is there like a Cole's Notes way that you would define the sound of the band?
I would say it's in the adult kind of rock. It's a mature rock kind of sound, and definitely there's some '90s influence to it. Layers to it. There's a lot of passion in the messages that we're trying to put out, and
Okay.
then I'd love it if one of the other guys took a shot too, because I don't even know what they think.
I think it's if you took four guys and put them in a '90s tribute band for 14 years and asked them to start writing original music. I guess experimental, really. I think we're still kind of just willy-nilly about our sound, really. We're not focused on sounding like any particular genre, but we are trying to kind of find our own kind of niche, I guess. Experimental rock is kind of what I would call it, I guess. But
Okay, that makes sense.
yeah.
Another way to maybe word the question is are there bands that all of you agree on? Like, I mean, I'm sure you all have your own distinct musical tastes, but are there certain artists that you all say like, okay, yeah, as a group, we all kind of collectively are big fans of whoever?
Oh,
Yeah, I think
definitely.
I think Dave really likes the Headstones.
No, but that is just to kind of circle back to what Matt had said is that we've done Project A, the cover genre for a long time, and we all kind of realized that our Venn diagrams aligned with the 90s music, right? So you name a Canadian artist, you
Right.
name kind of a world-renowned 90s artist. We've done tributes to those said artists as well as like the whole range from very heavy to heavy, very pop. So that's kind of the roots of our common denominators, I would say. And then I would say we all have our own kind of like shoots of bands that I might like, but the rest are like, and vice versa.
Of
So
course, yeah, you have
90s
to
is
have
kind
that.
of
Yeah.
our,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. What is it hard to transition from covers, playing cover songs to doing original material? Because I've been in terrible bands, not in a while, but they were always bad, but they were all original music, right? I've never been in a cover band, so I know it's kind of this whole different world than being in a band that plays original music. Is it a weird transition to from doing covers to sort of writing your own stuff?
Oh,
I
go ahead,
would,
Gary.
You know,
yeah, go ahead, Gary.
we had such we're a band that played such a diverse selection of music when we were playing over the last 14 years. We play everything from Backstreet Boys to Tool, and we might play
Okay.
those in the same set. And when we first started jamming, Dave, our guitar player here, he had a lot of material to start with, as well. He's been writing snippets in secret for some time, and we always kind of jammed whenever we were learning songs as well, too.
Right.
In the jam space, and we'd record little snippets here and there, and it's flowing pretty good. The cover band's always a challenge with shows coming up. We're always learning new songs and transitioning back and forth between the original band, and but no, it's flowing pretty good now.
Well, when I was looking up your
tough.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that I was, when I was reading up about you guys, looking at the Manitoba music page and everything, it definitely suggested that you were a very new band, in that you'd only sort of been a band since 2020, which is like this, that is obviously a horrible time to start a band because of the pandemic and everything else going on. But clearly you have roots that go much deeper than that with all these years playing together.
Yeah. Well,
go ahead, Dan. Sorry.
The roots of this are definitely based in the pandemic times, because of course we had no shows to play as a cover band.
Oh, so yeah, of course, yeah.
We're going to be, well, what are we going to do? Like, we got all this time on our hands. We still want to make music. So let's, we've always talked about writing songs together, and all of us have come from original bands previous to our project. So yeah, we just started writing songs and sending stuff to each other over Zoom and trying to jam together online. And then it just really started developing and taking off, and we really felt we had something to share with people. And a few of the songs are based on the feelings, well, I write a lot of the words, so feelings that we had during that time of being shut down, controversies, conspiracies, that all kind of played into it.
Well, that's kind of it was such a weird experience that it's a universal experience. Everyone sort of went through all the craziness that was going on during that time, and people couldn't, no matter what kind of music you're doing, there were no shows, right? Like, there was nothing happening. And so it made it for a very strange. I've had like conversations with different artists, whether it's a punk band or a rapper or a country singer or whatever, where they've either had one of two things has happened to them during that time. They were either super productive and spent that time, enforced time off, just writing and recording and demoing and doing whatever they could. And then other people were completely blocked. They couldn't write. They couldn't do anything. They just took a 2-year break from making music. It sounds like you guys were in the first camp, though, in terms of staying active and still doing what you could to make music during the time.
Definitely. David? You have a comment?
Yeah, to kind of double down on what Dan was saying, I was going to talk about the whole COVID thing, but I found it kind of like refreshing to all of a sudden be, you're gearing up for some of the A bars within the city, and then those said gigs are canceled. While those shows are fun to do, I've always felt that it's kind of been like distracting to what we've all ideally wanted to be doing, is playing original music and doing that circuit, right? So it was kind of like you have these existential crises during COVID, and it's like, you realize that you've been presented with this bittersweet opportunity, and then your brain just starts like shifting. You start forgetting all the cover stuff and the hip and whatnot, and then you just start plowing away at picking up your guitar, more focused on what the heck can I come up with next? What have I done in the past 10 years? And what have I created that may work in this environment? And it was good. It's been fun. So
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really took the opportunity to kind of go back and try and relearn the instrument from, its infancy. You develop a lot of really bad habits over 20 years, 25 years if you're not paying attention to it. So for me, I really went back and kind of just remembered how to hold the bass properly and how to use my fingers properly. So I guess we all kind of took advantage of it for different things. Live shows were all fun until they got canceled last minute, and or they didn't get canceled and you were playing to 5 people the night before the lockdown came back.
Right, right.
Yeah,
What has
definitely could be.
I was gonna say, what has the response been? I mean, you've been this version of what you do now. This playing original music together. It's been going on for a few years now. You have some songs recorded. You're playing shows. You have shows coming up. What kind of response have you got from people who maybe knew you as cover musicians and maybe didn't realize that you had this kind of alter ego playing original music?
Gary?
Crickets.
That's a great question. Just don't ask my dad. Yeah.
Judgmental dad.
Well,
Gary, Dan.
we played. I don't know. We've played about 5 shows as the Toy Son band, and it's nice having a following already to come and support you.
Sure.
Which, I think that was one of the biggest things when we were getting out of original music, because it was such a hustle all the time to, try to drag your friends down and your dad down and just try to fill the place up a bit. And so we all kind of put that away for a while, and we didn't know where this was going to go. I know we didn't really give you the preface that yes, we have been a cover band for almost 15 years. We're called the Nooners, and we played the city. We've played all over the province, and so it was like, okay, well, let's do this cover thing now, and it just took off, and it just keeps getting better all the time. But having that built-in family and community and friends to come help support is it's huge, and it makes it even more fun. And the response has been really good. Like, a lot of people are really enjoying seeing a different side of us, and I think generally it's been really well received.
We almost have a secret weapon as a band, just that you have all these years playing together, and I mean, it's got to be muscle memory at this point, like just the way you connect with each other musically, because you have all this experience, right? And a lot of new bands, they don't have that, because they have, that has to be something that's built over years, and in your case, 15 years.
Yeah, a lot of bands, they go through their early trials, right, where they're just trying to figure each other out, figure out each other's ego, and kind of see where they fall. And then we've had 14 years of that already, so we've kind of established all of our where we are and what we want to do and where we want to go. And
for sure,
it's now we just create. That's the best part of it, is just we want to create. And ultimately, I mean, music industry isn't what it used to be. You got to tour 10 months out of the year to make any kind of real living at it. And for me, it's still, it's hobby. I'd love to play some huge shows. It's always fun. But ultimately, the whole goal here was just to get back to creating again and having that outlet.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think you fit in within the local music scene at this point? Again, I know this iteration of what you do is relatively new, and you've only played a handful of shows, but have you sort of figured out where you want to be? I mean, I know there's so many different sort of venues that have certain bands that are typically associated with them, and little scenes and sub scenes and all of that. Have you kind of decided sort of where you feel like you fit within the larger local scene?
I think my big goals for 2024 is to essentially fit in, is to network and start to create these connections with the said original bands, and yes, we have with a few over the past few years. Bloodshots comes to mind. We've done some tribute nights with them, but I feel like it could be kind of a humbling experience when you've gone from kind of owning kind of places for the night, and it's your stage, and you feel like rock stars doing the cover side of things, and then all of a sudden you're basically, it's like the snakes and ladders game. You've essentially landed on that snake, and you're playing like a different game now. It's like, oh man. But I feel confident in these 4 guys here. Been through thick and thin with them over since 2009, and I don't know. I'm trying to laugh at your questions, because it's just funny to kind of hear it. It's very humbling, and I'm very honored to be here just to be interviewed by you, Sam. So
thanks,
yeah. Sorry.
No, it's all right.
we're looking for those spots to fit in, and um, it's busy out there. I mean, there are
Yeah.
a lot of incredibly talented bands in the city. Um, we've done the Tap House with Color by Numbers, Jared Adams, and we've done the tributes with a few other groups. We're kind of trying to find other alt rock
Yeah.
bands that want to do shows together. So if you're hearing this show tonight and you're looking to put together a night, check out our music, and maybe we can do something.
Well, I mean, hopefully that's one of the good things about sort of doing a show here where I talk to local bands every week, because I think that there's so many artists in Winnipeg and Manitoba and sort of like beyond that. It is difficult to find out where you fit in. I mean, like I said, every day I hear about like 18 new bands that just started, and they're all sort of fighting for the same spots, and it is pretty hectic. So, I mean, I hope that people
Yeah,
do hear this who are in other bands that maybe have a similar vibe to you guys, and reach out, because that's kind of what it's all about, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
And we're trying to figure out, more places to play and being creative in terms of creating an event, because it is limited in terms of original stages in the city.
Yeah. What's sort of the plan? We're in the beginning of 2024 right now. The pandemic stuff is hopefully behind us. Like you said, shows are happening. It's a busy time. What's sort of your long-term goal for the year? Do you have are you hoping to do some more recording? What do you have in the works?
We have one more single to drop pretty soon for the last of the songs that we wrote
Okay.
over the last while. So it's almost finished. It'll be coming out soon. Of course, we have our show coming up at Park Alleys, February 9th. The doors are at 8, music at 9:30. Tickets you can get at 3 Common. And if you want to bowl, you better reserve your lane soon, because it'll be a busy night. Further to that, we're hoping to record a few more songs that we've been working on right now. And, once we have enough, I think we would package, 10 to 12 songs together and call it an album and release that and have a big event.
Cool.
I think that'd be the big goal for the year, is to get that done and then, find a few more good shows.
Cool. Well, and I was going to ask you to plug the show you're playing, but you just did that for me. So that's, that's great. Where can people hear your music otherwise? I mean, someone might be hearing about you for the first time in the show. I think probably a lot of people will be. What's the best way to sort of track down your stuff, hear what you have out at this point? And then, because it's a podcast, someone could hear this a year from now, and by then maybe you do have an album out. What's sort of the ideal location online to find you and hear your stuff?
Yeah, we're listed on all of the streaming platforms. So your Spotify's, your Apple, Amazon, YouTube. We did release a video as well with our first single, Ghost. So that can be found on YouTube. Would love to shoot some more videos this year. So that's another goal for sure. But your usual places you want to find them will be there.
And then as far as finding out what you're up to with upcoming shows and things like that, do you have social media presence you'd kind of direct people towards to follow you that way?
Yeah, of course, we have Facebook and our Instagram. Those are the main ones. Maybe we'll do some funny TikToks soon. Hey, Gary?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Why not plug that show again? The one that's coming up at Park Alleys. That's such a cool venue for shows. I mean, the idea that music and bowling is happening at the same time is pretty awesome. So, what are the details again of that show, and remind people where they can get tickets?
Yeah, that is Park Alleys on Osborne. It's a beautiful, refinished, kind of classic bowling alley with a great performance area, a bar, the food, the drinks, and it will be Friday, February 9th. The doors are at 8. We will be playing a cover set with our alter ego, the Nooners, to open the show, and then Toy Sun will have a full set on later in the evening. Tickets are at 3 Common, which is online, or you just go to the Park Alleys website and you can get hooked up through there.
Awesome. And I'll link to the show information and stuff in the show notes here too. So if you're listening to the episode and you want to check it out and you forgot what he just said, you can, you can always click there and find the info you need. Right on.